Joining us right now is Trent Talbot. He's the CEO of Brave Books. We told you last week that the Spotsylvania School District had just voted to put Brave Books into the school libraries, and I was told it was controversial. Right. So we better find out what's so Trent Talbot, why are you publishing such controversial children's books down there at Brave?
Oh man, I can't help myself. I like to get into trouble.
Well, let me see. I guess one of the books that really bothers them is this one called Little Lives Matter. That doesn't sound good. What's that one all about?
About the sanctity of life. We had a little baby named Moby was born with one arm, and Culture, the vulture, tries to convince his mama bear, that little Moby's not worth keeping around because she's not going to be able to enjoy her life. And thankfully, little Moby does not listen, or Mama Bear does not listen to Culture the vulture, and little Moby turns out to be a legend on Freedom Island, one of the most important characters in this universe that we built.
I'm sorry, Culture Vulture? This
Culture the vulture.
That is fantastic. So, Trent, this is great stuff, and we've interviewed many of the authors of these children's books over the last several months. Did you have one of those moments where you walked into a kid's book section at a bookstore or at a kid's library and you saw the kind of titles and you're like, what in God's name has happened here to children's publishing?
Yeah, basically. I had my first daughter. I was a practicing ophthalmologist, actually, doing cataract surgery for a living, and had my first daughter in the summer of 2020. And so this is like peak COVID craziness. Yeah. And so she was born, and sort of like whenever you get a new car, you start to see that car everywhere, not because it just starts appearing everywhere. It's just increased in your level of awareness. And yeah, exactly like you said, walked into a Barnes & Noble, there's that whole display that seems like it's meant to indoctrinate kids. That film Cuties came out. Anti-Racist Baby was the #1 book on Amazon when she was born. It just everywhere I turned,
perfect
I was seeing
storm.
This attack on our kids, and for whatever reason, it's just like I couldn't forget it. I was always thinking about it, and then this idea for Brave Books and Freedom Island, which is the world that we've built, and I guess the model of Brave Books, the subscription model, started to come to me. I was like just dreaming about it, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna go for it. So I left my career as an ophthalmologist and started, and it's been a whirlwind adventure ever since.
Phenomenal.
Trent, I'd like you to comment on a little bit more on this phenomenon we're seeing where Democrats are actually defending the porn. And it is porn. It's absolute smut. Some of the books that are in our public school libraries, and these are available to kids as young as 12, showing sexual violence, showing incest, showing rape, really abnormal sexual sort of crimes. And that's not it. They also are just very explicit with sexual content. I wonder if you could, because we're seeing Democrats defend this, in fact, sort of passionately defend that these books be available to kids. And again, these are introducing sort of these very confusing sexual concepts to kids as well. If you could comment on that.
Well, I know it's very disturbing. I don't quite understand why they defend it. I mean, it's one of those things that's just sick to the stomach. Whenever you see this stuff, everybody gets grossed out about it. Kids are so innocent by nature, and they're the most repulsed by this stuff. Mm-hmm. And then, I think the vast majority of parents disagree with it. I don't understand why they're against removing this stuff.
Yeah, and they're so intent on keeping it there.
Angry about it.
And and they're calling it book banning.
Right. Book burning.
Who does that? Nazis do.
Right.
If you're against these, but guess what? Do you know what group in this country has banned more books than any other group? Librarians. Yeah. It's their job.
Yeah.
They can't have every book in the libraries, but they need to have more of these Brave Books for the children's section.
Definitely.
Trent Talbot, I'm glad you're not an ophthalmologist anymore. Let's face it, that's boring. You're a publisher now. Congratulations.
That's right.
Thank you, Trent.
And you hooked up with Kirk Cameron, and you get to do all this stuff. Well done. And, thank you for joining us, and thank you for doing this. BraveBooks.us is where you can see the whole collection. Thank you, Trent.
Thanks for having me.
It is 7